Hey everyone, Charting Man Dan of the Chart Guys here, checking in on the market. So we're in a bit of a tug of war out there as we have individual names within sectors tugging in each direction. And of course, our different sectors are tugging each direction. We have the financial sector holding on really strong. The NASDAQ is bouncing around, trying to find some footing, but still struggling to do so. Yesterday, Apple dumping. Today it was up. Yesterday, Amazon up. Today it was dumping. So just a lot of back and forth action here. And really, this is a battle for the key fork in the road where we're either going to set up a 2-week inverse head and shoulders in the S&P 500 into a reversal, or we're going to head back to a new fear low. And so this is the battle that's currently going on right now to start the year. And it's a very important one for me. So looking at SPY, daily inside bar. So for the most part, not a very eventful day, but there was a ton of volatility today in both directions. We had the FOMC minutes reaction in the afternoon. We had the JOLTS reaction this morning, and that is jobs openings and things like that. So a lot going on. Just another note, talking about 4-week treasury bills on social media with posts earlier today. And that's something that I'm learning a lot about and going to employ in my strategy for markets. So if you are a Chart Guys member and if you missed that information, send me a message and I'll direct you to the thread that has all that info in it. But I made my first buy of a 4-week treasury bill today. I guess it doesn't officially go through until tomorrow, but exciting things. So we headed into this morning with a fairly firm grasp on the most likely scenarios. So because yesterday dumped so hard, we knew that we had a lot of space for an hourly lower high. We started the morning higher, and if you're noticing, the futures overnight session over the past couple of weeks, far more often than not, we're opening higher. The futures sessions are drifting upward, and the pattern has been drift upward and then bears crush it at the open with real volume, and that's a pattern to be paying attention to. But for SPY, we opened higher. We knew an hourly lower high compared to the high of yesterday was the most likely scenario, so we're scouting for weakness. The NASDAQ gave us much more clear weakness because it had a bunch of tops on the futures chart. If you look at the futures chart from pre-market, there's a really good top fish there. And you can see we opened the day right here. We reject, we drop down and break the low of pre-market. We try again, we reject and roll over, and that's the JOLTS reaction that I was talking about. And then we did break it eventually, but still no follow through. I would call it a resistant zone still. That's a resistant zone. I would call that 6 rejections today, including in the wee hours of the morning. So that's an important resistant zone to be keeping an eye on. But we had SPY set the hourly lower high and the NASDAQ, and then we knew to be watching for an hourly higher low compared to the low of yesterday. Why did we know that was the more likely scenario? The retracement size of the bounce was over 50%. So we look for a tightening range when that is the case. We held the low of yesterday, and then bulls followed through a bit, but they were unable to break the high of yesterday. So long story short, a lot of volatility in both directions, but a daily inside bar, which, if you look at the close yesterday and the close today, uneventful day, but a lot was going on underneath the hood. So we have to see SPY break 386.43 and 387.41 for the 2-week higher low to be set. Simple statement, if we do not break that level, bulls don't prove a thing, bears remain extremely confident. If we break that level, bears have to say, okay, I need to have a game plan for if I get surprised here and if the bulls pull this one out. NASDAQ, actually don't even know here, was QQQ divided by SPY, was that red or green? Red, not what the bulls want to see. We've got to hold the low and negate the bear flag. NASDAQ needs relative strength. It's got to be leading the charge here, and it's currently not. Checking in on Apple after the big red day yesterday. So Apple, daily inside bar, just tightening up. So put a stop to the bleeding, but also didn't prove anything to us. I'm just viewing this as the dump from yesterday, high of the bounce. Well, you could say it was an hourly uptrend. I take that back. We topped out on the bounce, we held the low of yesterday, and then we broke the high of the bounce. That being said, no real follow through, and if the inside bar breaks bear, we're going to be right down at the fear low again. So a bear's best friend right now is Apple, and they just want to see continued new fear lows, a little bit of RSI divergence. I don't really use divergence in my trading, but you can see we didn't hit a lower low when the price did, and it's a tightening little RSI range. A lot of people use divergence. Me not using it doesn't mean it doesn't work. It's just not something that I've ever used, and it's gone well. So that's that. The dollar, bull move yesterday, no follow through. We never changed the 4-hour trend. So we've got our low, high, higher low, and we're scouting a 4-hour lower high tonight. And we're going to watch for this tightening range, and the direction that it breaks is going to be key. And it is seemingly correlating with our futures a bit more. We've got the 4-hour tightening range here on the NASDAQ. Again, it's not tick for tick like it has been in the prior months, but something we're certainly paying attention to with the direction that it breaks. So Tesla, same thing as Apple. Tesla and Apple lead bears yesterday, holding on today, and they showed us that in the morning. We could say within the first 5 minutes of trading that Tesla has a bullish correlation. How could we say that? Look at the first few minutes. So first 2 minutes, red. Okay, we're pulling back. Uh-oh, are we heading back to the 104 double bottom to break it and hit fresh lows? Inside bar, inside bar. These 2 minutes are very telling. And then, of course, the inside bar bull break. But that's 4 minutes of trading. 2 minutes of dropping, 2 minutes of sideways, 5th minute bull break. QQQ. Where are we? So QQQ, 2 minutes of dropping, 4 minutes of dropping. So QQQ pretty much had half of its first 4 minutes of drop while Tesla traded sideways. If it were a bearish correlation, Tesla would be dropping faster. Tesla was trading sideways, and as soon as QQQ bounced, Tesla took advantage of that and was right back up at the high of the day. So it literally took 4 minutes to identify that Tesla had a bullish correlation today, and if that persists, that means we are unlikely to break the 104 double bottom today. So that doesn't necessarily mean, again, that's another signal where for an aggressive bull, perhaps that's an enter now signal, but it can also be stay away bearish signal. And maybe you don't make money from that signal, but you save money by not looking in the wrong direction. And those correlations definitely shift in the first 15 minutes. But again, in the first 4 minutes, there was a little bit of information to at least give us a clue of the direction to be looking. So in the end, Tesla has the double bottom at 104, and we have a pretty decent bounce at this point. That being said, the high of the bounce is a long ways away. It's just a daily inside bar. If the inside bar breaks bull, we're looking at the most important level of 124.48. And if the inside bar breaks bear, we're looking at the double bottom at 104. And again, it's a double bottom with extended hours. 104.22, 104.64. So possible we get a 4-hour equilibrium here. Low, high, double bottom, lower high, anything under 124.48. So bulls have a ton of proving to do, but at least today they played some defense and said, we're not giving up without a fight. Semiconductors. It's a little bit of bounce follow through, nothing extremely notable. We can see NVDA, a little bit relatively weaker. Inside bar for NVDA while SMH hit a higher high. So again, there's not, I don't look at this chart and say that's strong, but we can say, all right, a little bit of a move forward. Not really much information, but certainly after the big red day yesterday, bulls will take it. Healthcare, how we break this sideways range is going to be very key. We know that if we're going to see fear in this market, a resurgence of fear, XLV's got to break this 133.71 support and confirm the first weekly downtrend in a long time. We've got these lower wicks with bulls hanging on. If we get over the high of 137.04, it'll be a sigh of relief. Pretty much if the S&P 500 is going to be a 2-week inverse head and shoulders, we've got to see XLV break this sideways range bull and break the double top at all-time highs. That's going to be one of the criteria for an S&P 500 2-week inverse head and shoulders. UNH continued bearish. So this has been a really good follow-through move ever since identifying this tight setup at the end of last week. And now 500 psychological being tested, 499.23 is support. So a little double bottom there, a lot of space for a daily lower high. I was really looking forward to a bear swing of UNH, but with earnings next week, I was looking for this to potentially be, a month-long swing. But I'm not going to hold anything through earnings, so that definitely ruined the setup for me a bit. But nice to see it follow through over the last couple of days. High bear volume today. And at the end of the day, just no bounce. Hourly stair-step drop. XLV bounced on the hourly. The S&P 500 bounced on the hourly. And UNH did not. So bears are liking that. UNH divided by XLV. How is UNH stacking up compared to the rest of the sector? Look at that drop. Look at this tightening range. You can get a lot of good information from these correlation charts, sideways ranges breaking. This was another one. Sideways tells us we're doing the same thing as the sector. Nothing going on. But when they break, it's very notable information. Financial sector is our lead bull major sector. It's just grinding higher each day. Weekly, setting a support, trying to head back to resistance. So if we're ranking our major sectors, XLF strongest, XLV sideways, QQQ weakest. And again, we've got to see QQQ change that if we're going to have confidence in the broader market as a whole. And it's got to be Amazon and Apple that lead the way. Amazon, notable dip today, filled a little gap, and now trying to confirm a daily uptrend. Microsoft had bearish news this morning, big gap down, a lot of weakness there. It's joining Team Bear a bit. So again, we've got to see the NASDAQ major players prove something for the bulls. And it's got to be Apple as well. We know Apple certainly struggling. IWM daily inside bar. Again, nothing really going on here much. I don't really care about IWM at the moment. So we move on. Interesting that our weakest, highest risk, highest reward sectors, so highest risk, highest reward, cannabis, crypto sectors. And they've been the most decimated over the last year because if you're fearful to put your money in Apple and Amazon, you're not going to be putting your money in cannabis and crypto stocks. So they've been dumping hard, but it was a notable green day today for both of them. Weak bounce the last couple of days, nothing notable, but CGC today went up 10%. We had MARA, crypto miner, was up 25%. So the most bullish day that we've seen in months. And that's definitely a bit of a short squeeze. I mean, if you're in this chart as a bear, you just get lazy. Just very comfortable, nothing to worry about, just slow grind and fade. And then, just like that, we are now 30% off the lows or whatever it is. So keeping an eye on that. And again, some of that is just, bear exhaustion. Nobody left to short, no longs left to sell, but keeping an eye because if from the result of this move, if it results in a daily trend change, that's going to show me some capital coming off the sidelines into these very high risk, high reward sectors. I'm not, looking for any kind of major moves. I mean, I guess a 25% move in a day is major, but essentially I'm just looking for clues. Are people getting a little bit more willing to put their money in high risk, high reward places? The answer today was yes. But that being said, bears are patiently waiting for both of these sectors to top out on this bounce because once we top out on the daily and start daily consolidation, it's probably an easy 15, 20% pullback. Just a little daily stair step on the bounce. Each day we're watching the hourly uptrend. Loss of the hourly uptrend is the first indication of daily lower highs of daily consolidation shaping up. Good day for the biotech sector, not shaping up daily consolidation and keeping this double top of 84.18 resistance in play. Inside bar, if it breaks bear, then daily consolidation is underway, but this is the strongest close we've seen in weeks. I should say the highest close we've seen in weeks. So hanging on to give themselves another chance at 84.18 resistance. Gold, bull break of this rising wedge. So I grabbed a little small starter swing short position towards the end of last week looking for the potential of this rising wedge, exiting gold with the bull break over the high of yesterday, but still in silver because silver did not break resistance and silver is now testing our rising wedge support. Clearly silver is much weaker than gold. If silver were to break the 2340s, that would be a notable break to get to the lowest level in a couple weeks. The miners are holding on well. That's a convincing bull break. So the miners doing a good job of following gold. Silver is not following. So somebody's wrong. We'll have to see who. But again, these miners and gold itself have a lot of space now. Yes, a long way to go under resistance still, but a lot of space for a monthly higher low. And tying it back to the beginning lesson about looking for an equilibrium with the wide ranges and the retracement, the miners' retracement at this point is now 50%, which now has us looking for a monthly higher low as the most likely scenario from here. And also gold, retracement over 50%, giving us the space for a monthly higher low from here. I will be interested in the metals and miners monthly higher low sometime. Maybe it's in April, maybe it's in July, I have no idea, but it will be I will make an attempt for a monthly higher low next consolidation for longer term swing positions. If the trade comes to me. If it just V-shapes, have at it. I will benefit a bit from some physical exposure, but oil, all bears. So we saw a daily higher high with zero follow through. We lost the daily uptrend. Our weekly lower high is very convincingly set, and we're looking back down at the recent low of 70.31. A lot of space for a 4-hour lower high. Look at that stair step drop. Is everybody saying all at once, meh, we don't want to hold oil anymore. So bear 9 candles in a row, stair step drop. A lot of space for the 4-hour lower high. Energy bulls are pleased with the day. Break-even day. Considering oil dropped so hard, that's a win. And again, it's all 81.81. Do we break that level and confirm the weekly downtrend or keep these weekly higher lows going? And natural gas, 4-hour oversold bounce underway. Getting to EMA 12 and trying to create enough space for an eventual trend change attempt. Not convinced that we have that space yet, but that bull volume is notable. So maybe time to shape up a daily bounce, and then we zoom out and we scout a daily lower high with lots of space for it to form. Not a ton of trading for me today. I made one attempt looking for an Amazon 15-minute lower high on this bounce around 15-minute EMA 12. The trade started well with an initial rejection. Looked like we were going to roll over into 15-minute consolidation, but ended up stopping out as the NASDAQ got an extra big boost up there. Other than that, shifting things around, practicing with futures more, placed my second futures trade. Yesterday I made $3. Today yesterday I lost $1.75 after fees, and today I'm back in the green. I made like $8 or something. I'm just trading one contract, and I'm still struggling with the interface of the new platform, and I feel like an idiot. So I need to just get the reps in, get comfortable placing the orders. That and T-bills, also watching I-bonds still. Might put some more in I-bonds this year after maxing out last year. But interesting to see the evolution of myself personally. You know, day trading every single day, nonstop all day for the last 5 years at least. And shifting that a bit with bigger picture mindset type of things. And I'll continue to share. Hope you're well. Do good things. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the likes and the shares and all that stuff. It definitely helps, especially in this bear market. Our analytics just track the S&P 500 chart and obviously getting crushed. So we got a lot of pictures this time around. One of the highlights of the trip. So when I was at the Conundrum Hot Springs from last time around, people suggested going to Ice Lake Basin. And I said, sure, why not? I got nothing better to do. So headed that way, just some more campsites along the way, leaving some footprints and some towns. This is Ouray and Silverton that I was going past. Just some really cool small little towns nestled in the heart of some huge mountains with some really cool roads going through them. And there's so many pull-offs and so many views. It's hard to stay concentrated when you are new to Colorado and it's just these massive scenic views all around. There's some really cool colors on these mountains. Obviously doesn't do it justice here, but different minerals eroding away and red and yellow and brown and orange. There's another little cute town from above. So this is the hike up to Ice Lake Basin, and I was pretty beat up that day. I forget why. It wasn't too brutal of a hike. It was pretty steep. Had a big pack on, had a big water jug and all that. But I got to this point, which is pretty much there's two levels. There's one level up and then there's another one. And I saw tents over here and I thought, this is a nice spot, cool mountain, little lake. Maybe I'll just pitch my tent here for the night. And I said, no, I'll keep going up. It might be worth it. And it certainly was one of the best spots that I went to on the entire road trip, just in terms of, astounding beauty. And a fun aside is this has been the background of my computer for the last, I'm not lying, for the last 3 years. And my previous partner went over her house one day, and the background of her computer is pretty much this exact picture, but from maybe 50, 100 feet to the right and in the winter. Exact same place, and it was from her trip to Ice Lake Basin. So that was some pretty cool synergy. But there was a marmot who lived there, some nice wildflowers. The wildflowers were mind-blowing, as you can see. Just, again, so much more than I anticipated would be in a pretty arid environment that is Colorado, but just lush wildflowers at the right time of year. And this was the, surround sound or surround view, panoramic view all around. That's my favorite camping spot. Sweet picture. Did have a thunderstorm roll up out of nowhere. That's the danger. This is up over the tree line, over 11,000 feet up. I think it was somewhere around, I forget, between 11 and 12. But a storm came out of nowhere from behind this ridge and dropped a little bit of snow, a little bit of hail that very quickly melted. But just in terms of the speed that it came over with no warning, but you can't see the clouds on the other side. So that was definitely a wake-up call to be more attentive. This was a rock that a marmot lived under, and that's just his life. This is what he looks at every single day. The rock is pretty much right where I'm standing, and that was blowing my mind. That's just all he knows. That's outside for him. Pretty good luck out in terms of where that dude found to live. So this is now pretty much, I stayed for 2 days, and my agenda was, I wonder what this looks like from that mountaintop or that mountaintop. So this is me exploring right here, this little river that's feeding, or this creek feeding the runoff into this extremely mineral rich, that's why it's this color. Ice cold, did dive in, but you can only stay in there for, a minute or two. But ended up hiking up into that little crevice to see where it went. And there was some cool snow melting and some, again, the white rocks of the minerals running off of the mountains, and some cool sculptures of snow. And that's one of the views from above. And you can see it's just valleys down there below. That's where you hike up. And that's the river that I climbed up. And then you can see it going down even further. That's where my picture was and where I put my tent up. And again, it's the kind of thing where I was alone in this place, the vast majority. There were 2 women that camped a bit further up. And other than that, I had this entire place to myself. This is from another peak. So that last picture was from up here. And then this is from a completely different angle. And it's a good spot. You should go to Ice Lake Basin in Colorado. And that's the view back down the valley from where we hiked up, where I hiked up. And I had something, I got all poetic up there. And I do a thing where I associate music with memories. So I have a really good memory in terms of memorizing things in school and memorizing lyrics of songs. So what I'll do is I'll be in a moment and I'll suck in that moment as much as I can while I'm playing music. And I associate that memory and the sense and all my senses with that song. And so for this song, or for this memory, I was sitting up there at sunset and I was playing Fool on the Hill. And so now anytime that I hear Fool on the Hill by the Beatles, I'm taken right back to this spot. And it's a very vivid memory for me. And I do that with a lot of songs and a lot of places that I go. So potentially something you can play with yourself, but it's really good for memory recognition for me to have an audio trigger almost to bring me back into that moment. I got poetic and I wrote something about religion, and I'll see if I can find it. I'll be right back. I can't find it, but I recreated it for this post a while ago. Some of the similar themes. Anyways, that's that. That's Ice Lake Base in Colorado. Go to it. And we'll see you tomorrow.